I'm gonna give this a try. See where it goes. Maybe you guys welders out there, maybe this will end up being a really good video for making fun of engineers trying to do stuff. I don't know. Oh, happy day again. I just picked up a welder, and I've never welded in my life, so this is going to be, you guys can come along on the journey. There is an Everlast PowerPro 164Si. So this is the box it came in. I'm going to throw that away. And what's really cool about this welder, it's kind of a, it's a bit of an entry-level welder. What's cool about it is it's a multi-process welder. And it can do basically TIG welding, stick welding, or plasma cutting. And full disclaimer, I've never TIG welded, never stick welded, never plasma cutted, but I have done quite a bit of soldering and a lot of brazing of aluminum. I did an entire sawmill with aluminum brazing, and so when I looked at the TIG process, it seemed fairly simple to me. It's not very messy. Like stick welding, you get all that splatter everywhere, and because it's a little bit like soldering to me, I think it's very delicate, fine-tuned. I think I should be able to pick up on this fairly easy, but I guess we'll see. I've mentioned on several videos that I have MCS and multiple chemical sensitivity, so I'm very allergic to anything chemicals, fumes, perfumes, things like that. And over the last 3 years, my health's been gradually improving. So this is a huge step, because this is something that 4 years ago I thought I'll never weld. There's no way in my entire life that I'll be able to weld. And here I am buying a welder. So this welder was 1,600 Canadian plus tax. And then by the time I bought the canister of argon gas, so TIG is tungsten inert gas welding. So I bought this canister, and it's really nice quality. Has this nice blue guy there. It's got a pressure gauge on it, a valve, and then it has this on-off flip valve there. So it's fairly convenient. That was $350, believe it or not. So, and then when I need to refill it, I bring it back, and it's about $100 to refill it. So all in all, by the time I bought this, the welder, the PPE, you know, I need leather jackets, whatnot, it's running me around $3,000, so it's a fairly big investment. But the reason I did it is because I have pretty much an infinite supply of these aluminum extrusions. And I'll show you in the video here how I get them back to my home from Labrador. They come from Labrador, where I work, and I mentioned in the video that one of my customers is a Bitcoin miner. So I've got access to these aluminum extrusions, which is basically the chassis that the computer cards slide into. Okay, and what happens with Bitcoin mining is it's a bit of a rat race. So as new computers, they call them miners, come out that are faster, more efficient at mining and whatnot, the older ones get kind of to a point where running them isn't cost effective anymore. So they end up becoming garbage. And so what I've told my customer I would do is I would figure out some products and things that we could do with these things. So the idea is we're going to repurpose these extrusions, recycle them, reuse them. Not necessarily recycle them, more repurpose them, reuse them for other things. They're fairly sturdy. If you can see, you've got this profile here and these edges that give you extra strength. There's a flat end here and a flat end here, so that gives you like a flat part for boxes and whatnot. And then I've got these grooves here that the cards slide into, which gives extra strength sideways here too. So between the four sides of this thing, there's different things you can do. So I'm going to be doing a lot of projects with these in the future, and I hope that this inspires, because there's millions of these out in the world that are going to end up in landfills. So I've got some really good ideas for what we're going to do with this for my customer, and what I'm going to do with these for the house. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of these. A lot of you guys want to see what's in the box, so seen the welder, I'll describe that later. But I wanted to show you what came with the kit. So it's a fairly good kit, lots of stuff here. So here we got, this is the plasma torch. Okay, so I don't intend to do a lot of plasma cutting, but I wanted to have it because it's really handy. And so this is the plasma torch. Put that aside. Came with this little piece of tubing here. Make up your own piece of tubing. It came with a hose. This tubing hose here, which I don't find this particularly good quality. I heard some guys online saying that it does leak, so I'm gonna just put this aside. I bought some new hoses that I'm gonna probably use. So here's, came with that. Came with this entry-level kit for the TIG torch. So a short and a long piece, and then these are the collets and whatnot for inside. And sorry, I don't know all the terminology by heart, guys. If you're a welder, you can make fun of me all you want in the comments. I don't mind. Then it came with this nifty little wheel setup. So this basically keeps your plasma cutter at the specific height that you need. So they would recommend like a 1/16 of an inch. So you, as you're cutting, you just put this collar on the workpiece, and then, you know, keeps you at the right distance. So that came with it. A bunch of hardware here for the connections of with those little hoses and whatnot, and then these would be the plasma nozzles and all that stuff. Put that aside. Came with a really good manual, especially for a guy who's never welded. I read through this last night and this morning, and it's fairly good explanation for even a beginner like me. I can get the basics down. I did watch a lot of YouTube videos on welding. I've been researching this for a little while. This is the stick for welding, with stick welding, and I probably will never use this. I don't intend to do any stick welding. It's my ground, or some cases it's positive. I guess it's positive when you're doing TIG welding, but this is what you put on your workpiece. And then I've got this. This is what makes this unit such a good unit. It has this adapter. So it comes with a 240 volt plug, 50 amp, but the unit is able to do dual voltage, 120/220. So it's designed to be portable. You should be able to take this kit and basically go on any work site and do some repairs and whatnot. It came with a nice little filter regulator. So that came with it. Came with this argon flow meter. So let's see here. Nice Nice little argon foam in there. A little ball goes up. Tells you how many CFHs you need. We got it. And I bought this extra kit here from Everlast. As you can see, the kit that came with it here didn't have any tungsten in it. So that's the basic kit. As you can see, there's no tungsten in there. So I was aware of that from other people's videos, and I bought this Everlast kit. It's called a WP 171826 gas lens kit. Comes with 3 serrated tungsten and no, sorry, 4 gray and 4 blue. Just open that up so you guys can see what's in there. So here's the, got the blue tungsten, and then different sizes, and then I've got the gray, 2 different sizes as well. Lens kits, so I got a 5, number 5, let's see, what's this, 6, a 5, a 7, and an 8, I guess. Yep. Some more parts and pieces here, nozzles, whatnot. All stuff I'll figure out as I go. I do a lot of stuff, guys, that I teach myself, so don't think I'm crazy about doing this. It's not the first time I've done something like this. I'm not really afraid of a whole lot when it comes to this kind of stuff. I do my research. I'm a quick learner. So here's the torch, TIG torch. I will be using this quite a bit. I've heard, the pros, of course, that weld all day will tell you that this is just a good beginner torch, which is fine for me. But they always they're doing the video and they're switching out and putting their favorite torch on it. They never ever weld with these things, with the torch that comes with the kit. But I haven't seen any bad reviews on Everlast welders, so it seems fairly flexible. I gotta say, I don't know if they've upgraded this, but from what, wow, this is fairly flexible, I gotta say. I could see myself fairly easily welding with this. Hear that click? So that's the torch, and it comes with a decent quality foot pedal, from what I've heard. It's not the best. They do sell, of course, an upgrade, but it's a 22 kilo ohm foot pedal. So yeah, so there's the kit. This is not my garage. This is a rental garage. And the reason I haven't been doing any building videos or project videos last little while is because this rental garage is basically used right now as a storage, and none of my tools are really set up in it. And so, but it's the same size as the garage in the house that we're building. I'm going to be welding pretty much outside. There's too much stuff in here to catch this place on fire, so I don't want that. Here's a little project I did a few days ago. I took this, this is just a Black & Decker workmate. Used to be really popular back in the day. It's cool. It's a little vise, and you can basically take these out. To the bottom is wood, and there's some plastic here. And it's not something that I've been using a whole lot, but I figured rather than spending a lot of money on a welding table before I move in the garage, this would do the job for what I'm trying to do, because I'm welding aluminum. I'm going to be transferring some heat, but it's going to be very localized on these extrusions, so this should do the job. And what I did is I had this I'll take you guys on when I do on my recycle metal runs. I get my metal from it's a recycling depot, and they tend to get a lot of there's people that drop off metal and they sell it for X dollars a pound. So I've picked up a lot of really good finds there. Here's one I'll show you guys in the corner here. So you can see that piece of aluminum. That's I think it's a 4-inch by 1/4-inch piece of aluminum, and in the back there's a big aluminum checker plate. And oh, actually on the front of that, here's that white piece that you see. That's actually what this is. So the white piece is just plastic that you peel off, but this is stainless steel, and I got this stuff for a song, really. So when you go to these recycling depots, what's really cool is they're selling metal at the market price for the metal per pound. So they're not billing you for the shape or any of that stuff. Whereas if you went to a metal reseller, you know, where you're selling I-beams and things like that, they're charging you a premium more than the value of the weight of the steel or the aluminum. So it's a really good deal. So I try to go there every now and then. I'm dropping off, like, you know, old batteries and things like that. And I did 2 little projects yesterday. So I did this. This is another little fan that comes from a Bitcoin miner. So again, I get these. I can get access to thousands of these for free, basically. And I just took them, and I have these batteries. So these are kind of cool. Let me get one. So these 2 batteries here come from these battery packs, and I picked up these. I got them from Ernie, my brother. He's a couple of Jack and Ernie videos on my channel here. Anyway, so the guy I call Ernie. It's not his real name, but now here's Jack, my real name. So that's the big mystery. What's my real name? Anyway, so these are 18-volt lithium sulfur dioxide batteries, and they're really cool. They're not rechargeable batteries, but I got them for free. The company was throwing them away, and the only thing I had to agree with was that I'd recycle them. So I signed a paper, said I'd recycle them when I was done with them, and they let me have them. So the neat thing is I can now have this little fan. So because I have MCS, this is my precaution for ventilation. So I just put, you know, instead of messing around with a switch, I just put this little stake on here, and my idea is I'm going to put this so that air flows this way, and it'll just take the ozone fumes away from me as I'm welding. So the reason I picked TIG welder is because first of all, argon isn't a dangerous gas, so it's an inert gas, and the only other thing, depending on what you're welding, some metals are very dangerous, but the only other really nasty thing is the ozone that's generated from the arc. Now, all welders will generate ozone, so, but other welders, like stick welding, will generate with that because there's some flux in there, so they'll generate all kinds of fumes and chemicals and stinky stuff. But TIG welding doesn't do that, because all you're doing is you're melting an aluminum rod with an arc. So I'm hoping that I'll have no issues with this, and with that little fan just to move that, give me some fresh air, should be good. So here's the welder, and this is the plug came with it, standard 50 amp N650P. So in my garage I'll have a proper 240 volt plug, and that'll allow me to use the full capacity of this welder. But Everlast includes a little adapter. So basically you just take this, stick this in there, and bingo! Now my welder is good for 120 volts for North American regular 15-20 amp outlets. So now of course it limits me a little bit. I think it's instead of the full 100, because this welder will do 160 amps, instead of full 160 I can do, I think it's 90 amps on TIG welding. So what do we have here? So I got this, basically this is my amperage control, and this is my downslope for after you're done welding. So this is my post flow, my downslope. Here I've got my pulse. So it's a fairly simple welder, not complicated. I just got two choices here. I can go 1 hertz or 25 hertz pulses. I got a pedal and the torch selection here. So 2T, that'll do either that or the pedal, and then 4T is based on the torch. I can go AC or DC. So this is the cheapest unit I could use. I could get the AC DC. They do have cheaper TIG welders, but they don't do AC. As far as the multiprocess, anyways. And then I got my selection for TIG, for cutting, or for stick welding. This is my AC balance, or my frequency, sorry, AC frequency. So I can go from 20 hertz to 250 hertz. And I got my balance here for, so give me some more cleaning or less cleaning. So typically what I read is around 30% is what you should set that to. And I've got my cutting pressure here for the plasma cutter. On the back I got a circuit breaker. Down here I've got my gas inlet. And that's it. Here's an external ground if you want to do permanent ground on this thing. So there you go. That's my unboxing of the Everlast PowerPro 164Si. So let me put this thing together, see if I can do a little test weld. Alright, so I got all my PPE on. I got my welder little beanie here. I got leather coveralls. These are actually, they look like a pair of jeans, but they're fire rated jeans. I use them for electrical rooms. We have to have the fire rated equipment clothing, so underneath I got fire rated clothes and fire rated jeans, and I got this welder's helmet. Okay, and this mask is a really cool little mask. So I have MCS, so I'm not taking any chances. So this mask is a P100. It takes out 99.97% of all particles. So I've got this on, and the mask here, and this is designed to go under a welder's mask. So gotta get this back on. So let's see what happens. Of course, most important thing, fire extinguisher. You seen that? That's so, yeah, that's a really bad weld. All right, so two things happened here. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. My first time, so of course I can't expect to be an expert first try. Guys that do this spend years honing their skills at it. So one of the things I forgot to do was to check the manual, see how many amps I needed for this thickness. So it was recommending up to 125 amps. So I think I only had 60 amps on there. A second thing that happened was this. I melted the CRAP out of this tungsten. So I got a little ball here on the end. So I got to re-file this down and try it again. And then the other thing was it actually melted my glass here. The lens melted, and so beginners not so lucky. But I'm having fun here, so that's the main thing. So I'm gonna grind this down, and we'll try it again with some extra amperage this time. So far my welds are pretty pitiful. I'd say worse than worst. So we'll see what I can get to by the end of this. Alright, so I've got to throw a quick update at the end of this video here, so you don't think I couldn't do this and you're all laughing. But I'm nowhere an expert at this yet or anything, so you can look at this as this is kind of what you could expect first time you're welding. If you're a welder and you're an expert at welding with other forms, maybe you do better than this, but I've never welded, like I said, ever in my life, so I'm kind of proud of this. Seems to be fairly solid for you know, for a second take. And I messed around, like a lot of this was just me trialing. You know, I trialed the whole concept of puddling here just to want to see what is happening, and I wasn't putting enough heat in it. So it wasn't until I watched the video online, and the guy was holding his arc there for like 5-10 seconds before he even started putting the filler rod in. So then I realized, oh, I'm trying to do this much faster, and then I kind of was able to see the puddling in the when you look at the videos, it's easy to see, right? But because I got the right lens and whatnot, but with my lens in my auto darkening mask, I initially had it too dark, and but I was able to see the puddling happening there as I lighten it up a bit. Here's the back side. I just was able to melt this. I had before a bunch of big blobs on here, so I was able to melt this in. So so what's my take on welding TIG? It's actually not that hard. Now, it'll be hard to get professional welds, but it's not as hard as I actually expected it to be. And again, this is aluminum, so it's probably the hardest thing that you can weld with anything. So this is actually really hard to weld because there's a hole in the bottom here. There's a this is the extrusion. You got these little holes here. Okay, and I'm trying to weld the two of these on edge together. So that's why they tend to weld. They tend to melt. So it was much easier to weld the back side of this. So, but even then, I didn't have them clamped together, so I had a gap, and the argon gas was kind of flowing. The arc wanted to go in between that crack. So lots to learn yet with this this new process, but I'm hopeful. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I gotta do the macaracha. I'm welding for the first time. This is my welding rod macaracha. So alright, that was fun. So bye for now.